Okay, today's guest is the Professor Nii Quaynor, who is known as the father of the African Internet. And then here we are at the Accra, Ghana, where we had a very successful African Internet Summit 2025, and then which was celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Ghanaian Internet. So here we have the Professor Nii Quaynor. Thank you very much for your time, Professor.
Thank you for coming to Ghana.
This is my very first time in Ghana.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, find it very lovely.
Okay, welcome.
Energetic.
Welcome.
Right.
We have a lot of respectful relationship with Japan because of the Noguchi hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, lab.
I should have
attached to the University of Ghana. They do a lot of research.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to have your recollection from the AIS 2025. I think it is a big success, wasn't it?
Well, I think so too, because where we started from was very low, and we gradually gained momentum. But yes, it was very, very successful, purely from me at the podium receiving the vibes from the people. I can say it was energized, and the community support was very good.
All right. I heard a lot of, I saw really, approach from the African community members, and then a greeting, and really they are so friendly. And then I feel some sort of the solidarity bond each other. So that's really the characteristics of the African internet community.
Yes. Well, many a times it depends on the soul of the community.
Right.
And the soul that we have has been built around unity. And fortunately, it has been rekindled.
Okay.
So that is good to have.
Okay, thank you very much. This time, you celebrated the 30th anniversary of the Ghanaian Internet. And I am not sure you are the one of the initiator and the promoter, driver of the Ghanaian Internet. How do you look back these 30 years until now?
Okay, I look back in a constructive way because we did this in an era where knowledge was scarce, skills were scarce, there was no infrastructure, there was no community, but we were able to assemble something which sparked an activity that eventually grew to be the internet community.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. That was a lovely talk, looking back the 30 years ago, and hearing the handshake sound of the modern.
Yeah, we tried to recall some of the interesting things that were occurring at the time.
Yeah.
For me, the most important thing is that there is a prerequisite for the adoption of new technology.
Yes.
And that prerequisite is not well known. People talk about it, but this is a clear example of what that prerequisite is.
Okay.
And it requires that you have a number of people that can transcend different communities.
Yes.
You need to have the academic community feeling favorable or having a common interest.
Okay, yes.
Then you need to also have the policy environment being receptive and seeing value in the new idea that you're trying to introduce.
Okay.
Then you also need to have a private sector that is strong and determined enough to want to do it. And then whether we like it or not, because it will have social impact, you need to have people who think about social issues associated with technology as well.
Right.
In the case of Ghana, we happen to have had all of these things
Okay.
playing together. And that's real, because even the current president of Ghana was one of the different ministers that contributed in the policy realm.
Okay, yes.
Okay, and then infrastructure, we did not dismiss the existing infrastructure. That's why the modem example was given. We rather just try to stress test it and then layer things on top. And then, civil society, we immediately created Internet Society to to fill that hole, and so on. So that's what we did. Academic, we also, since I was also a teacher at the university,
Yes.
I made sure that many of the professors were the first subscribers, including the famous physicists. Yeah, because they needed to connect with their external colleagues.
Right.
So I ensured that I facilitated those things at practically no cost.
Okay, practically no cost.
Yeah,
Right.
practically no cost.
Yeah, that's we often say that the internet is a multi-stakeholder approach, and then that's really it is. Then a lot of stakeholders need to help each other, and then I guess that in this country, Ghana, that's really well worked.
It worked.
A lot of people are helping each other
Correct.
from the
That's from
different
the start.
aspects.
Yes, from
Okay.
the different start.
Okay.
In fact, if I didn't have it, I would not have even been allowed to layer on top of the telecommunication infrastructure.
Okay.
Meaning, a minister at the time said, "Oh, it's okay. You are just doing value-added service
Yeah.
because I'm buying everything from the telco."
Okay.
Right? I didn't go starting to build my own thing without license. I went to the telco. I bought everything from the telco, and I was willing to make less money, but use their infrastructure to show, and so on and so forth. So yeah, having that synchronization. You see, this multi-stakeholder thing, for it to work, you got to have a common goal.
Yeah.
If you don't have a common goal,
Right.
it will not work.
That's right. That's really it. Okay, thank you very much. And then I think you are talking about the Ghanaian situation. Is that also applicable for the entire African continent?
Well, there's no one Africa. Africa is too diverse.
Yeah, I think so.
And remember, I pointed at 4 different pillars, so to speak. Meaning the academic side, the policy side, the social side, and the business side. Okay, so you can't have those 4 or 5 things at the same intensity as the case of Ghana, because it's so diverse.
Yes.
The infrastructure in the landlocked countries will be different from the infrastructure.
That's right.
And so on and so forth. So for that reason, it's not healthy to try to impose one approach. And I say also the following, that, but in spite of that, it takes a microscope to see differences between the countries,
Yes.
really. It takes microscope to see differences between the countries.
Okay.
Meaning the differences are not so vast to say it's a qualitative difference. It's just a slight quantitative difference, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Then in AIS we had actually I was so impressed with the multitude of the AF something. A lot of that IXP, some Digital Africa. That's another thing, and then a lot of collaborative projects are there. So is that representing the Africa's diversity?
It's another way to look at it. If we couldn't get a diversity from the point of view of geography or politics, we got a diversity from function. Okay.
Right.
From function. In our case, we started with the NOG, which is the AfNOG, and then that gave birth to lots of small NOGs in countries and so on to give that diversity. Then we started with the NIC, and the NIC, also was beginning to look at LIRs in countries and so on and so forth. See how the thing was going. And then they went to the TLDs, which also breaks down into countries coming together in a federation, and so on. And so then we went on to the research and education networks, same kind of practice. So it allowed different countries to, participate, but in different intensity, depending on the kind of interest they have, including more recently the emergency response teams and so on.
Then they are all get together here. It's a really exciting event.
No, okay. What's going on there is I coordinate like our equivalent of iStar, which we call AF Star.
Yes, it's AF Star.
And it's made up of the leaders of each of these institutions.
Yes, yes.
And we like to do our meetings in the presence of Internet Society Global, ICANN Global, and African Union.
Yeah.
Just so that we make sure that if we can get proper advice depending on what issue we are discussing. And that is how we went about it.
Okay. Yes, you have the even African ICANN thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's really, yes, you need such a similar situation with the iStar.
Yes,
And,
yes.
Okay.
Really, all of those organizations had something to do with me in their formal or informal formation.
And here in AIS, they can get together and talk to each other, and then enhancing the collaboration among them. Yes, that's right. Really great.
The AF Star decided that instead of each of us having independent meetings all the time and spending money, it was wiser for the two largest organizations with common membership, that's the NOG and the NIC, to be the lead organizers of our annual meeting, which we call Africa Internet Summit.
Yes.
And that creates a space for all the others to co-locate their meetings.
Okay.
So, for instance, here, the Research and Education Network, people, Wakren was having a meeting co-located with us, and so on and so on.
Yes,
so that's what the philosophy is.
Okay.
Create a space so that all the AF Star organizations, if they want, they can hold meetings so that any one of us can participate.
Okay.
That's how it evolved.
All right. Thank you very much. Well organized then.
It evolved. The thing is, I proposed this AF Star as far back as 1998 in a meeting at Cotonou.
Okay,
because I saw that was just before the birth of ICANN. And we're having meetings to coordinate ourselves to participate. And while everybody was focusing on the NIC, I reminded everyone that we have a lot of work. We have a lot of work.
Right.
And all these organizations need to be focused.
Okay.
Because otherwise we all become very light. We will not be able to go deep into any of them. And that is what led to the creation of the AF Star.
Okay. All right. I understand it very well. One of the major topics here in AIS 2025 was the AfRINIC. And then I'm really happy to have the AfRINIC board members all elected properly. And then we had the latest announcement from the AfRINIC is the AfRINIC board elected the chair and the vice chair. That's a really good news, because that was the very first resolution by the AfRINIC board for years. Then what do you see the AfRINIC situation right now?
Okay, the good thing is that AF Star did not stop the AIS during the time that AfRINIC was going through its challenges.
Right.
In fact, we went to the community and asked them to support we continuing.
Right.
And then they asked me to continue doing it. So that is why we kept having meetings, even though AfRINIC was not present.
Yeah.
Now, I see it as one step forward.
Yes.
Because now I can begin to exit and have them to play their role together with AfNOG. You see, when they were missing, AF Star leadership stepped in. But now that they've come, since AF Star leadership has given the responsibility to AfNOG and AfRINIC to organize, AF Star will begin to exit and focus on our things. So we are looking forward to them settling down quickly and then them beginning to play their role and make sure that we are ready for the next event. And that is where we are.
Okay. I think you are the one of the few people who set up and started AfRINIC. And then what do you expect for the maybe some stages? One is the immediate stage, and then some another is some midterm. What do you expect on AfriNIC?
Okay, what I expect is make haste slowly.
Okay.
As they say in Latin, festina lente. People should not go into the situation with preconceived ideas. They should, gently understand what is going on, and then make constructive, decisions as to what they want to do next. So that's the immediate. I'm saying, don't come with an answer looking for a solution.
Okay.
We've held it together for you, the community. Okay?
Right.
You are now bringing the org. Okay. Take your time and plug the org into the community as well as you can. Then you can begin to look at the next things that the community says are important.
Okay.
Because now you have to establish common goals between the community and the org.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's why I say no one should come with preset solutions in search of a problem. You have to come, understand what the problem really was genuinely.
Okay.
Yeah, and then try and plug into the community, and then jointly together establish what your objectives might be.
Okay.
And then you can now look at the next step. Okay. Now, for me, the next step requires that you understand what was the challenge you faced. Okay. And I don't mean going back and back. No, I want you to go forward.
Okay.
But to know what step to take to go forward is to know what the real problems really were.
Okay.
It may not be what you read in the newspapers, that this is bad, this is bad. It may not be that.
Okay.
No, I don't know that. I don't know that it's that, because nobody has given me any evidence. And notice that throughout this whole process, AF Star has remained neutral.
Okay.
That is why we are able to convene AIS.
Okay.
If we were biased, nobody would come. Okay. Yeah, we never published, endorsed any group of people. We refused. Of course, I also have people I may think can contribute, but we felt as elders that's not the way to go. The way to go is to keep a neutral space and give everybody a chance to participate, get everybody heard. Okay, and then rather learn from what people are saying and doing, because sometimes they have wrong impressions. And so you get a chance to correct. Okay. And then sometimes they have very good ideas. So you get a chance to amplify it so that more people can go in that direction. So we were working the consensus issue, let me put it that way, in the community. But now the new situation requires that they work the consensus not only in the community, but with the members. And then, the rest.
Right. In this AIS, we had the AF Star open forum where we intensively discuss the AfriNIC situation, and that it was really lively and intensive discussion, and then I really loved that. They all have so concern on the AfriNIC and the want or expectation on the AfriNIC. And I was the most impressed with someone's intervention that do not blame someone else.
Yeah,
that's your problem. Let's get it together. Yeah. That's really we need that kind of sentiment to do it much better. And then I really agree with you that to start slowly, and then the second identify what is the problem, and then solve it. That's a really step-by-step approach, and I like it.
That's right. That's the soul of AIS.
Okay. Thank you very much, Professor. This is a really good chance to talk with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much.